Okay, we'll begin tonight. Is a very fascinating topic. Perhaps one of the most fascinating topics of all, that is the topic of reincarnation. Gilgulei Neshamot. What you will hear tonight, you most likely will not hear anywhere. Even though there are other cultures and civilizations and people that may know something about it. But Baruch Hashem, I was able to put together just about, well, I shouldn't say all, but most of the sources that we have in our tradition concerning this topic. And towards the end, I'm going to show you a little movie that proves that there is reincarnation. A 10-minute movie that will actually demonstrate this live, where you can see it with your own eyes. But we need to give a little bit of an introduction. This is a topic that is metaphysical in nature. It's not easily proven, and it was not known too much in the past, even amongst Jews. But it's important to note that Judaism very much puts an emphasis on this because it deals with the Neshamah. And the Neshamah meaning the soul, of which we've spoken about in the past. The Neshamah is the essence of the human being. The body will rot in the grave. So when we're talking about Gilgulei Neshamot, the reincarnation of the soul, we're being very specific. We're talking about the real human being. Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshamah, the various components of the soul, we've spoken about them, what each one does, what the purpose or what the goal of the Neshamah is. In the end, every Neshamah is unique and has a special mission. But the common denominator is that Jew or non-Jew, we all have a soul, a spiritual entity to us that we cannot see because it's not visible, it's not physical like the physical body. Nonetheless, there's quite a few indications, even scientific proof, that there's something else out there other than the physical body. So point number one, as an introduction, Jews believe b'hasharat hanefesh. We believe that the soul survives, even though the body decomposes, even though the human being has died, the soul continues to survive. The soul continues to survive in a different kind of dimension, as it has been known today in Israel, Chaim lachar mavet, life after death. We're not going to speak about Olam Haba now, the world to come. That's a whole different topic. But there is another world out there that perhaps we can call it Olam HaNeshamot, the world of the spirits. And this world of the spirits is a fascinating world. It's a world that contains ghosts, and I'll just briefly touch on that a little bit later. It's a world that contains places that you may have heard, like Gehenom, and Gan Eden, paradise, and hell. Yeah. Concepts or names that you may recall, that you may have heard, but I don't think too many people really understand what goes on there. And obviously there's differences of opinion between the various religions in the world as what is supposed to be happening there. But we're not so interested in what everybody else has to say. We're really more interested in what Judaism has to say, because it just happens to be that we have a tremendous amount of information, first-hand information. The reason I call it first-hand is because it has been handed down, and that is what the word Kabbalah means, that we've actually received it by tradition. There is testimony, and as I will share with you later on, there are various ways that we can prove it. And that's the good thing about tonight's lecture, is that I will show you how this can be proven, scientifically, if we can call it that this exists. All neshamot are special. All souls are very special because they're all divine. There are various levels of neshamot, and we've spoken about that before, but they're all divine. They're all a part of Him. And each one has a mission. Speaking about missions, it's important to note that the entire world, the entire population in the world, every human being created in the image of God, whether he's in Bangladesh, whether he's in Micronesia, whether he is an Indian in the Amazon forest, they all have a common mission. And the common mission is what? Lishmor al Hagan. If you read Parshat Bereshit, you will notice that Hashem put Adam in the garden, and he told him, take care of it. Watch over it. Adam represents all of humanity, the entire human race. Your job is to preserve this world, this beautiful world that I created. You have the ability to ruin it, to spoil it, or to maintain it. How does he have the ability to ruin or to spoil? Because he was given something called free will. Free will is something very powerful, very dangerous. And if he misuses it, he can be destructive, whether it's a nuclear bomb, whether it's the decrease in the ozone, as they're saying these days, due to smog and the like. It's all human cause. It's all something that we are doing. And this is, of course, a way of destroying the world. And Hashem, of course, has no interest in destroying this beautiful world. But unfortunately, man can be destructive. So the common goal to all neshamot in this world, to all people, is take care of this place. Maintain the balance. There's a certain balance in place that Hashem put. Please take care of that balance. Make sure that the evil that has been created to, the forces of evil or impurity, do not overpower the forces of good. Let there be a balance. Hashem created a balance. They all exist, and they all exist for a reason. Please make sure that you do not allow the forces of evil to take over, to tip the balance. That's the common mission to all of humanity. The Jewish mission is unique, very special mission that was given to them when they received the Torah. Hashem tells them, listen, there's something called Het Adam HaRishon. There's something called the first sin. The first sin is not just a story that is documented in Sefer Bereshit about a serpent seducing or misleading and convincing Chava, and then Chava convincing her husband to eat from the forbidden tree. That's not just a story. There's a lot of symbolism there. There's a tremendous important message there. It is a message for all of humanity that man has the ability to rebel against God's instructions. Unfortunately, that is exactly what happened, and that is unfortunately what will happen. It will repeat itself. And as a result of that mistake, as a result of that ability, the world is now in an imperfect state. We're not going to be talking about that subject tonight. I've spoken about that another time. What does it mean that Adam and Chava were given the ability to commit this terrible mistake that basically resulted in some terrible consequences for humanity for the next 6,000 years? It's a whole different topic. But briefly, it means that they have the ability, human beings, to go against God's plan, God's blueprint, and that's what they did, and that's what will happen, unfortunately, in the future. Therefore, we are in an imperfect state, a state where we have the ability to go against His will, and that's terrible, because that goes against His designs and His plan. So Hashem tells the Jewish people, listen, your job will be letakenu olam b'malchut shakai. Your job will be to fix, to repair, to bring it to the level that I would have wanted it to be all along. A perfect state of harmony in everything in this world. We unfortunately did not do too good of a job. And that job will have to be done by Mashiach, by Hashem Himself, very soon hopefully, because we haven't done it. A lot of good has been done too. Of course, Baruch Hashem, I'm not going to say that no good has been done, but we still have problems in the world, whether it's idolatry, paganism, whether it's wars, whether it's people who cheat each other and are not honest. Across the board, in all religions, in all faiths, all people. Human beings are selfish. Human beings are still being destructive. We still have the same problems in the past, more or less. But at least that defines the mission of the Jew. Just wanted to let you know that every Neshamah, every human being has his own particular mission, his own particular job. He is an important peg in this creation. He contributes, or at least he can if he chooses to. And then the non-Jewish world has their mission, and the Jewish world has their mission. everybody, hopefully, if they do the job, everything would work out just nicely. However, what happens is that some people don't do their job, and if things get out of hand, there has to be a mechanism in place to repair. You know, the human body, for example, has a built-in mechanism called the immune system. The immune system, if it senses a strange body from the outside coming to invade the health of the physical body, it will counter-attack, it will try to defend the body. That is what doctors tell us about the human body. It's very unique, and of course it's by design so that it should be able to fight off any enemies that come to invade and come to undo this beautiful balance that's there. Sometimes it succeeds and sometimes it doesn't. It depends who overpowers who. In the same way, Hashem had to put a mechanism in the world, in the creation, that will fix things. There's two mechanisms. One is called Midat Adin and one is called Midat Rachamim. Midat Adin means judgment. Judgment usually sounds harsh. Hashem judges, and people take it to mean that he punishes. But I want to repeat to you again and again that there's not such a concept, punishment, the way we understand punishment. Hashem is good. Hashem lakol v'rachamav v'kol ma'asav. He's good and compassionate, and all he wants for us is good. He's, the whole creation of the world is an act of his goodness and kindness. So therefore, when we talk about judgment, it's just a mechanism to repair. Hashem wants to repair what has been undone, what has been corrupted. And he does this through something called judgment. Judgment balances everything else. And there are various kinds of judgments. Midat HaRachamim, his compassion, means that he allows the human being, fix it yourself. I'm not going to bring about the judgment to you. I'm not going to fix it. I don't think you want me to fix it. Because sometimes if I fix it, it's painful. So I have something called Midat HaRachamim. I'm compassionate. Compassionate means I'm also tolerant. Tolerant means I can wait for you for 25 years because I know that you have the potential to fix it yourself, and I'd rather you do it. The essence of Midat HaRachamim is really teshuvah. When Hashem says, I allow you to repent, I allow you to come back to me, I allow you to repair, it means I give you a chance to fix it yourself. I'd rather you do it. That is what teshuvah is. Teshuvah meaning that because of Midat HaRachamim, that he's so compassionate, he sometimes is tolerant, and sometimes we see people who are wicked in their ways, and it appears to us that they're getting away with it. They're so prosperous, everything is so great in their life and so comfortable, and we'll be talking about that topic another time. Why is it so that tzaddik berah lo, rasha v'tov lo, that the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper? It appears to us, but it's all appearance. For one to really be able to get a feel for what goes on, you really have to study a human being's life from the moment he's born until the moment he dies. See what has transpired over him, and then maybe you can get some sort of idea of what he has done and what has happened with him as a result. Most of us don't have the time to follow up on somebody else's life. We're barely following up with our own life and our own children's life. We don't have the time. But if you really did, you would be able to see a great deal. That there is a judge. There is judgment. Things eventually balance out, either through him or through the mechanism of Rachamim, which is through Teshuvah. But at some point, it has to be repaired. Repairing is important because if man were allowed to do anything he wants, he would destroy the world. Hashem, of course, does not allow those that have power to just do anything they want, because they would be very destructive. So the hearts of kings, as Solomon says, is in the hands of God. We may have a tremendous amount of free will in certain areas of life. Kings and rulers have less because they have great responsibilities for the entire country. They just can't do whatever they want. They have free will, but Hashem does not allow them to just do anything they want. Otherwise, they would destroy their country or they would go against his wishes. So therefore, if things go awfully wrong, Hashem has a mechanism that corrects everything or stops it from becoming worse. All of that is midat hadin. The kilkul that we're talking about, the damage that can be inflicted, can be damage done to the human being himself or to the world, regardless. Makes no difference. Damage can be done either way. Just like we know people can hurt themselves physically by smoking, by overeating, people can also hurt or do damage to their neshamah. Or the damage is being done to the beautiful balance that existed in this world. When the scale tips, unfortunately, to the side of evil. And that is when you have a lot of wars and famine and terrorism and the terrible things that we see from time to time. Obviously, the Jewish nation has one advantage. One advantage that we have is that we were told how to fix. We have a roadmap. We have guidelines. If we will only follow the guidelines, we would do our job just fine. That is the Torah. The Torah is basically a map, a roadmap, how to live your life successfully, how to arrive at your destination, how to fulfill your mission, your own unique mission, or the mission of your people. That is one advantage that we have, but not everybody looks at it, not everybody studies it, and therefore not everybody has a clue as to what they need to do. But if they were to learn the Torah would really guide them, and they would have a tremendous advantage of being able to do the right thing. All of this was an introduction as to what the abilities of the Neshamah is, what the Neshamah is, what its mission is approximately, and how there's a system in place that needs to correct the faults, the mistakes of the Neshamah, and of humanity as a whole. Of all the forms of repair that exist, the most powerful form for the human being himself, not Hashem's way of repairing. The best way for one to repair himself is something called Gilgul Neshamot. In other words, of all the forms of repair that exist, the various mechanisms that Hashem put in place to accomplish this repair, this balance for the human being or for the world, is called Gilgul. In other words, the reincarnation of the soul is a mechanism to restore something that has gotten out of place, something that has gone wrong, to rectify it. Now, since the Neshamah is the one that gets into trouble, not the physical body, right? The physical body we dispose of. The physical body is just a medium, a vehicle for us to travel, right? We have hands and feet. The real essence of the human being is his Neshamah. So the one that gets into trouble the most is basically the Neshamah. Since the Neshamah is the one that's making the decisions, it is directing the ship like a captain does. It is the one that's ultimately more responsible, even though the two are responsible, the body and the soul. It is the one that has to do the fixing. It is the one that therefore has to come back. The coming back and living a life again, which is what reincarnation is. One lived his life for 70, 80 years, dies, buried, and comes back again. That second or third or fourth or fifth time that he comes back in a reincarnation is basically a chance to fix, to complete, to undo something that was not done right. Whatever it is, it's a mechanism and it's an opportunity to repair. Now, even though I said that the tikkun is for the Neshamah, we did speak about Nefesh, Ruach, Neshamah. When we speak about Gilgul Neshamah, we really are talking about the Nefesh. The Nefesh being on the lowest level, the one that's closest to the body, and therefore it's the one that is usually to blame. The Ruach and the Neshamah, which are on a higher level, are usually not involved, but sometimes they come back on their own or together with the Nefesh in a reincarnation. But usually when we talk about Gilgul Neshamah, even though it's called Gilgul Neshamah, the word Neshamah is used all over the place. It does not always mean Neshamah, the way we understand it in the Kabbalah. We're talking about the Nefesh. Now, this topic of Gilgul Neshamot is quite new, relatively new. Not too many people were aware of it. Many rabbis were even against it when it was first introduced, or I should say when it first became public. Does anybody here know when it first became public knowledge to almost any Jew that something called Gilgul Neshamot exists? When the Zohar came out. Before the Zohar was published, only the ones who knew Kabbalah were aware of this. Gilgul Neshamot was therefore something esoteric, something of a secret, something that may have been shared amongst a few. But just like the rest of the Kabbalah, most people were not aware of it. And when the Zohar came out, we became aware of all sorts of interesting details that are Kabbalistic in nature, but nevertheless, it's part of our tradition. So it's real. It's not fake. It wasn't made up. But not only did we become familiar with it, not only did we become aware that this exists, as a result of now knowing that there's something called Gilgul Neshamah, that the Neshama actually comes back, it solved a lot of problems. It answered many, many difficult questions. Just the fact that we know that now the Neshama that has just died, such a young man, oh, but he may be coming back soon, even though speaking a different language, with a different name, born to different parents. Nevertheless, you can already sense how this can take care of a lot of questions and a lot of problems that appear to us as being unfair, and where's the justice, and how could this happen, and how sad and tragic and the like. After all, we do know again that even those who have been burned to death, those who have drowned in the oceans, regardless of how the body left this world, the Neshama, remember, is still around. We haven't lost him. I don't like the English expression when somebody describes somebody who just passed away. Oh, she just lost a son, she just lost her husband. She didn't lose him, he's still around. He's not lost. Believe me, he knows his way around very well. You know, we are more lost than they are. But that's the term people use to explain, oh, they're no longer together. After all, they were attached before, and now they're not attached, but he's still around. It's important to remember that Neshama is always there. It doesn't get destroyed just like that. Most Neshamot are not destroyed. So this important topic, called Gilgul Neshamot, does not come from Hinduism. You mean Rabbi Judas believe in reincarnation? I thought that was Hinduism. That's the typical comment that I get from some people who are somewhat familiar with it. That's where they learned about it. That's where they heard about it. No. If anything, the Hindus or other nations may have taken it from us. Or they could have been aware of this independent of us. But it's not that we learned it from them. Same thing with astrology. I spoke about this many times. Yes, Jews believe in astrology. Not every kind of astrology, not every detail that astrologers talk about, but astrology is found in Judaic sources. There's enough sources to prove that the rabbis believed in it. Again, not all of it, depending what aspect of astrology we're talking about. There were some rabbis who were astrologers themselves, who were very familiar with it. So it's not that we took it from someone else. No, this is a science, or knowledge, I should say, that existed in the past. They were very familiar with it much more then than today. And today, because of Western civilization, because of science, because of a major change in the way people think and see the world, people look down at all these hocus-pocus kinds of knowledge that to some is totally untrue. But it's very, very real and very, very true. So Gilgul Neshamot is something Jewish 100%. It's part of the Kabbalah, part of our tradition. And as a result of us becoming familiar with it, we have a better understanding of how Mazal comes about. Mazal was another topic we spoke about. Mazal meaning the destiny or the fate of a human being, which is determined at the time of conception and later is formed as at the moment of birth, and basically accompanies him for the rest of his life. This mazal, or this package called mazal, a great deal of it perhaps is customized based on a person's previous life. Otherwise, why should this man be born with a mazal of poverty and the other man a mazal of whatever he touches turns to gold? Wealth. He's not a millionaire, he's a billionaire. And he never went to college. He barely knows how to speak English. But we know what it's called. It's called mazal. Now why? Well, why does he have this mazal? Okay, I agree it's mazal, but why does he have such a good mazal? We're not going to get into all the whys and all the reasons for somebody's mazal. There's more than one explanation. But one of them definitely has to do with the previous life. A great deal of what happens to a person in his mazal has to do with the previous life. In other words, his mazal has been customized to do what? To bring about some repair work, some unleft work from a previous lifetime. So we have to customize his mazal. If in his last lifetime, for example, the money drove him crazy, and as a result of that he committed a lot of sin, maybe this time around he may be born without money. Or with money again, and presented with the same challenge under different circumstances. Right? Only Hashem knows how to bring about the best opportunity for the man to repair whatever it is that he needs to repair. But Gilgul is not the only form of repair. Gehenom, even though it sounds terrible, Gehenom, hell, it's not purgatory like the Catholics describe it. Gehenom is a hot shower. Even though I'm minimizing a little bit what it really is, it is basically a laundromat of neshamot. The neshama gets cleansed. The neshama actually begs to become clean. The neshama, the Zohar explains, cannot face the Shekhinah with all the stains on it. It is pained. It feels so dirty. Imagine a bride coming in to the hall, to the dancing floor with ketchup all over her. She would be embarrassed. She'd want to change her. She would want to change whatever she has. She begs for somebody to help her with that. So the neshama actually is embarrassed, and that embarrassment actually is the worst kind of Gehenom. When we actually come face to face with what we've done, we know the truth upstairs. There's no lying. There's no hiring an attorney to defend you. You know, we all know the truth, and we feel terrible about it. We feel guilty about it. And we ask for the repair. And the repair can be in Gehenom, or it could be in a Gilgul. Or in one's lifetime, from time to time, we have mini repairs. They're called Yisurim. Yisurim are episodes that are painful, illnesses, all sorts of problems in life, financial and the like, that bring about a repair that we are more familiar with as kaparat avonot, an atonement for sins. But all it really is a cleansing. It is a form of repair. It is the arm of din, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, doing it for us because we have not done it on our own. Obviously, as I said before, if we were to do it, it would be a lot better. But if it's not done, at some point, Hashem has to do it. That is why, in Sefer Devarim, in talking about justice, the courts, the judicial system, the Torah warns the judges, be careful in delivering justice. Don't be afraid of the rich and powerful. Don't be overly compassionate with those who are poor. Be fair and just. You know why? Because Hamishpat Elokim Hu. Hamishpat Elokim Hu. Hamishpat Elokim Hu means because justice belongs to God. What does that mean? What does that have to do with being fair and just? Well, the simple interpretation means don't take this lightly. You are playing God in a sense. You are being the judge. You better do a good job. That's a simple meaning. Mishpat lelokim. But the interpretation of that pasuk, as Rashi brings down, is a lot deeper than that. Do you know what happens if you do not carry out, if you do not deliver justice properly in this court down here below? Hashem says, Ki mishpat Elokim hu, you are forcing me to rectify the problem. If you take money from Reuven and give it to Shimon, and that was not right, Shimon does not deserve it, you are forcing me, Hashem says, to take that money from Shimon and give it back to Reuven. You're making me work. Mishpat Elokim, one way or another, there is going to have to be justice. If you don't do it, you're forcing me to do it. I'd rather you do it right. then I have to fix your problems. So even though it's true that when you go before a jury, before a judge, and you lose the case, you can say, it was meant to be like that, and usually that's our reaction. Kaparat avonot, it was meant to be like that. It's not always so. Because as we know too well, the Jewish people suffered a lot in the hands of non-Jews who were corrupt, who were anti-Semite. In many cases, the Jew lost because of some terrible accusation against him, which was totally unfounded. Now, even though we know in the end everything is a kapara, if the man really does not deserve it, and nevertheless Hashem allowed it to happen as a kapara, Hashem somehow has to fix it. And eventually he's going to get back the money that was taken from him unlawfully. Something is going to happen at some point in his life, or in the afterlife, or in the next life, that is going to have to be repaired. There's no such a thing as something will stay unrepaired, broken, just because man messed up. Hamishpat Elokimhu, Hashem always handles it, takes care of it. The problem that we have is that we don't see it right away. We'd love to see action right away, that man deserves to be punished, that man deserves to get over his head for what he did. Hashem says, not necessarily now. I'm very patient, and I may need to wait 35 years for reasons that he knows, till I get back, until I correct the problem, and he gets what he deserves. Things sometimes take time. Of all the repair work, however, even though there's Gehenom, there's Yisurim, there's disease, the best one is Gilgul. Why? Because Gilgul is basically a brand new chance to start from scratch your life again, from 0 to 120. It's the best chance. And during that time, you can compile for yourself a lot of credit. You're given a second chance to come down to this world, to do more mitzvot. Great. But wait a minute. What about ruining it? What about making it worse? Is that possible? No. You cannot make it worse than what it was before. And the reason why it cannot be worse is because what comes down to this world is not the entire Neshamah. It's only the portion that needs repair. The portion of the Neshamah that was good, that did everything well, stays behind. And we don't understand this well because we can't figure this out, how a Neshama splits itself. We mean there's components, there's parts of the Neshama, part of it stays behind, part of it stays below. Yes. As Shlomo Melech compares the Neshama to a candle. Why is the Neshama compared to a candle? For various reasons. But one is that you take the original candle and you can light many candles, 1,000 candles with that original candle, and you've not diminished the original candle. This original candle will still be lit. Did you waste it because you lit 1,000 candles? No. The original flame is still going to be there regardless of how many candles you've lit. What does that mean? The Neshama can split itself like a flame. And all these parts are called in the Kabbalah nitzotzot, sparks. So therefore, when the Neshama splits itself, it could also come down to this world with just one nitzotz, with one spark. Not the whole thing has to come down. Just briefly going to go over some of the rules or some of the ideas behind how Gilgul works, how it takes place. Rule number 1, Gilgul usually happens up to 4 times, not more. If by the 4th time he did not fix it, in baseball, 3 strikes and you're out. Or in Gilgul, 4 strikes and you're out. You're given a chance up to 4 times. The original time plus 3 more. However, most of us are here more than 4 times. The reason for that is because once you start doing a little bit of repair work, you can come back 15, 20, 30 times too. Because every single time you're doing something. If every single time you do something, then the Neshama can come back many, many times. So that's why the average person, or at least many, have come here many, many times. Because they're always making some progress. Rule number 2, if you have any questions, leave it towards the end because most likely I will cover all your questions. Rule number 2, The Gilgul can happen bedomem, someach, chai, or medaber. It can happen on 4 levels. One can be reincarnated in a stone. One can be in an inanimate object, a domem. One can be reincarnated in that someach, which is a higher level, plant. The third higher level is a reincarnation in an animal, which is high. And the fourth and the highest level, and the ideal level, is medaber, human being who can talk, who has the ability of speech. What's the difference between them? Anybody who gets reincarnated in a plant, in an animal, in a stone, it's usually for a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months. It's not for years. In a medaber, if you come back reincarnated in another human being as a baby, then you could have 70, 80 years. Or not. Some reincarnations, which is rule number 5 or whatever we're holding, some reincarnations are short and some are long. A person can come back into this world for 8 days. And B'ezrat Hashem, we'll be talking about this in another topic, the topic called, why do small children die? Little babies, they never committed a sin. That is when I'll cover that. I don't want to mix too much now. But it is possible for an individual to come reincarnated for just 8 days. He's accomplished his mission. Gamarno. He has no reason to stay. Everybody's sad, but the fact is that there's no reason for him to stay. And sometimes the reincarnation is for a full life of 75, 85 years. Another form of Gilgul is called Gilgul Be'ibur. Be'ibur means that somebody's alive. Let's take Shimon. Shimon is alive, and he has his Neshamah. Some other Neshamah comes and impregnates itself. Mit'aberet. Ibur is to become pregnant. It impregnates itself in that individual temporarily. For what purpose? Either because Shimon is about to perform a very special mitzvah, and that Neshama is lacking of that mitzvah, but it does not need a full reincarnation. They allow it to piggyback. It's called to piggyback, or to impregnate itself in that other Neshama that is alive for a month or 2 or more, or even to guide that Neshama. That's another form of Ibur. What's the difference between this kind of a Gilgul and a real Gilgul? In a real Gilgul, you're not aware most of the time that you are Megulgal, that you are reincarnated. When you are Be'ibur, you know it. You know it that this is not you. You're there piggybacking into this individual for a little while. That's the difference between Ibur and real Gilgul. A man can come back in a woman, and a woman in a man. But if it ever does happen, it's not very often, but if it does happen, that woman who has a male neshama cannot become pregnant. Unfortunately, some of the women, not all, but some of the women who cannot have children may have a male neshama. Now that can be fixed, not through an operation, not medically. You know, even though there are people who do something called transgenders, we're not talking about them. I'm talking about a certain form of teshuvah that can be done that will allow this woman to get into her a female neshama, at least for the time that she needs it, which is the pregnancy. And that will allow her to become pregnant. Some people have asked, could a Jew become reincarnated in a goy? It happens, but very rarely. And when it does, it's a punishment. It's a very, very powerful form of kapara. And most likely it's temporary. It's not for an entire lifetime. I believe so, that it's not an entire lifetime. But it can happen. It's very rare. Gilgul can happen right away as soon as the person dies. After everybody's gone home for the Shiv'ah, immediately he's reincarnated. Or it can happen after a number of years. He's in Gan Eden upstairs resting in peace. And the time has come to reincarnate him. Why? Because he wants to go up higher and higher. There are various levels upstairs, and in order for him to go to that higher level, they tell him you first have to go back. Come back down to this world, and then you're able to go back to that higher level. That is why in Jewish law it's important to bury as soon as possible the niftar. Because if the old body is not buried, that man who needs to be reincarnated cannot come back. The neshama cannot come back b'gilgul until you first bury its old body. And what happens sometimes, since Gilgulim many times happen in the same family, it could be your uncle will be your son, yeah, or your father will be your grandson, because it's in the same family. same shoresh neshama. Because of that, many times, as soon as they buried the person, the following day, Mazal Tov, the sister or the cousin gave birth to somebody. It just happens to be within a day or two. She was due 2 weeks from now. She was due before. Whatever it is, the timing is incredible. Why? Because many times that birth is that neshama that is coming back. That body that was just buried needed to be buried right away in order for that woman who's about to give birth, for her to have the neshama of that niftar. That is why we give that much importance to burying immediately, plus the fact that it's the kavod of the met not to leave him outside, not to leave him unburied. There are some neshamot, however, that cannot come back down right away. They're in a place called kafakela. Kafakela we'll be talking about a little bit more in detail when we talk about the subject of dibukim. Dibukim are spirits that possess others. Possession. They are being pursued by certain kinds of demons and angels in an area called Kafakela, which is loosely translated in English as the slingshot, because they are going from one end of the world to the other end of the world, and they have no peace. They are so bad that they don't have permission to go into Gehenom. That's how bad they are. So before they can go to the Gehenom, they have to spend all this time in a Kafakela. After they finish their Kafakela sentence, they go to Gehenom, and only after that they go to Gilgul, if that Gilgul is necessary. Now, since in Gilgulim we are given the opportunity to do repair work, you would think that this applies to everybody. Not so for women. Women are usually exempt from Gilgulim. Why? Not that it's such a great thing to be exempt from it, but because rabbis tell us the man does a lot of the repair work through the Koach HaTorah, through Torah. And because he studies a lot of Torah, that Torah protects him from Gehenom. Since he's received the protection from Gehenom, how is he ever going to get his tikkun? So we bring him back. A woman who does not have all that Torah, she's not obligated to learn Torah. Her tikkunim are usually in Gehenom. And therefore she does not have to come back in a Gilgul. It does not mean that women don't come back. We said before that certain nitzotzot, certain sparks of the females do come back. And especially if the man who's coming back in a reincarnation is a righteous man, they send him along his wife for good company. He wants to have his original wife. He wants to have his original soulmate from the previous lifetime. And Hashem says, okay, fine. In other words, you're a good man, we're going to send you her back. Even though she doesn't have to come back, sometimes she does so only to be with her husband. And sometimes it's a nitzotz of that neshama. It's not the entire neshama coming down. It's only a part of the neshama. There are, of course, other instances that the neshama has to come back for some purpose, for some mission. And that is also true for goyim. Goyim also have reincarnation, as I will soon show you in a movie, that is exactly about that, a reincarnation of a goy. Goyim also have reincarnation, even though they have a different mission. They have therefore something different to repair. Nonetheless, we're still talking about the same system that needs to correct itself. And if there's something that needs to be corrected that only he can do, then he's going to come back. One of the questions that people ask is, okay, if there's all these reincarnations of people of the same neshama coming back down, what's going to be in Chayat HaMetim? When the dead will rise? Who will rise? All the bodies, but it's only one neshama. Good question, right? The Zohar addresses this question too. But what did we say before? Neshama can split itself. So really all the reincarnations of the same neshama are like brothers. They're all related. They all share a little bit of a spark of the original neshama. Each one will recognize itself. However, it doesn't mean that every single one will rise. The ones that, of course, deserve to rise will rise. But they can all rise. They will all receive a new nefesh, it's written. A nefesh is the living spirit, because there's only one living spirit. So they get a new living spirit, just like they get a new body. It's not a recycled body. It's brand new. Brand new body with a new nefesh, sharing the same soul with all the other bodies that came down before. Unfortunately, one of the individuals, the rabbis tell us, has an automatic reincarnation. Automatically, that you don't even have to think too much into it, is one who never had children. One who has not had children in this life, during his lifetime, that's an automatic Gilgul. Because there's no continuity to him, he has to come back, get married, and have children. So usually we don't know who comes back, what the reasons are for coming back, but we do know one for whom 99% come back, one who did not have children. Anyway, so it's important to have children, to get married and have children. Most people in a Gilgul do not remember the previous Gilgul, who they are, but I will tell you how it can be done, how you can remember. There is a way. But most of us do not know who we were in the previous lifetime. Neither do we know what exactly it is that we have to accomplish. So how do we accomplish if we don't know? The Neshamah takes you to the right address. The Neshamah will take you to the right people that you have to meet. The Neshamah will take you to the opportunities that will present themselves, because Hashem wants you to get the job done. So you don't have to worry about it. As long as you do not oppose and you do not stay home and do nothing, as long as you're interested in doing your job, the opportunity will present itself and it will happen. You will be guided, you will be sent to the right place. What about ghosts? It's a different subject, but just briefly, there are ghosts. Ghosts are spirits of human beings that are no longer alive, but usually that were murdered. A ghost is usually a spirit of a murdered individual who has no menucha, who does not have any peace until the murderer is found and put to death. Many ghosts are attached, therefore, to the same place where they were killed or where they used to live. And that's why you have haunted homes, because there's some connection to that spirit, to that place. It's not all the time. It only happens initially, or at certain times perhaps, when because of the lack of menucha that the spirit has, it comes back and visits those places that it's familiar with. But you don't have to worry too much about it. Hopefully the homes here are not haunted. But there is a law in California, in real estate law, that if somebody was murdered in a home, you have to disclose it. The broker, the seller, has to disclose that information. Why? Because of this. They are aware that this could be a problem if that spirit is still around somewhere in the attic. Hopefully you'll sleep well tonight, don't worry. Yeah.
What if you're haunted, though?
Scientifically, let's just talk a little bit about proof. Do we have any proof for everything that I was just said? The proof that souls exist and souls continue to live in their own dimension is either through seances that have been performed, which is forbidden by the Torah, by the way. We're not allowed to engage in a seance, be involved in one. It's called Doresh Lametim. Another time we'll talk about that. Why is it forbidden to contact the dead? But that's what a seance is. But through seances, it has been proven. It has been proven that the spirit continues to survive, to exist. Clinical death or near-death experience, Mavet Klini as it's called in Hebrew, proves it too, where people have left their body and have come back. They have come back, so we have heard from them what they have seen in their state of being a spirit, of being a soul. Or through hypnotic regression. Hypnotic regression is a way that a good hypnotist can hypnotize someone and have him regress to a previous lifetime. This has been proven supposedly, where all of a sudden an Anglo-Saxon speaking English out of nowhere begins to speak Spanish, German, a language that was not known to him. That we know for sure he never studied, he never knew a word. Talking fluently in another language, describing scenes and names of people in another lifetime from the 1700s or 1800s, People have gone out and checked those facts and they found them to be true. Supposedly, this can be done. Again, I haven't tried it, but supposedly this has been done, and it makes some sense. It may be possible to regress through hypnotism the Neshamah and get it to figure out who she or he was. Another way that we know is through real Gilgulim that have proven themselves, of which one I will show you soon. Another way is through a dream that one sees a departed soul, and that departed soul tells him all sorts of facts that it can't be you're hallucinating or imagining, it's real. In other words, it can be proven that this Neshamah is still around. Otherwise, how does it know? By the way, I left some money underneath that stone in the yard. Go find it. And you go out and you find the documents or the gold or whatever it is that he told you to search. It must be true. There is such a Neshamah. That's not telepathy. That's not imagination. That's true. Or seeing a departed soul in real life. There are many stories for that too. Speaking to you, I thought you left. I thought you're dead. He has come back. There are stories documented to prove that that is true. And the last one is through dibukim, through spirits that have possessed others and who have told us all sorts of things of what is happening to them in that state that they're in right now. Before I show you the film, I just want to share with you a couple stories that prove that there's something called Gilgul Neshamot. Some stories. The one that happened the most recently was about 5 years ago, or maybe a little less, in Monsey. Or I think it was not in Monsey, in New Square. New Square is a Jewish town in New York, not too far from Monsey. In a fish store. The owner of the fish store is Jewish. One of the workers was, I think, from Puerto Rico. Not Jewish. So this non-Jewish worker went in to get some fish, to prepare some gefilte fish. And all of a sudden, he hears a fish talking. And he runs out and tells his owner, the devil is in the store. What does he know? So what are you talking about? He says, this fish was talking. So he knows his worker to be a reliable man. So he went to check himself, and sure enough, not only was he able to hear the voice, he actually recognized who it is. A customer of his, a Talmid Chacham. There was a scholarly Jew, good person, good reputation, who was in the fish, reincarnated in the fish, talking to him. And all it said is, I'm such and such. Get ready, the end is coming. That's all he said, I think. I don't recall every little detail, but that's pretty much it. This is me, yes. Get ready, the end is coming. Fine. So, as soon as he heard that, he tried to grab the fish, and the fish fell back into the pool with the rest of the fish, and they decided to make a filter fish of all of them. This is a story that was documented. It was in a newspaper. People called the store. Who knows how many hundreds of people called the store to verify it, and it was verified. Recent story. My grandfather, Rabbi Shalom, was in Vienna, in the old cemetery, and there he sees a tombstone, a matzeva, in the shape of a fish. What's this? Who do you ask? It's an old cemetery. So he goes to the Pinkasa Kehila. In many Jewish communities in Europe, there was a Pinkas. A Pinkas is a little booklet where they wrote all the incredible stories that has happened in the past few hundred years, documented for future generations. So he went to look up what's the story behind this tombstone. Is that the way it's called in English? A tombstone in Matzeva?
Either a monument or a tombstone.
Okay. In the shape of a fish. And he looks in the Pinkas, and this is what happened. Years ago, there was a Jew who bought a fish for Shabbat. He takes it home. As he's about to cut the fish says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem. You can imagine the look in the guy's face. What now? What's this? I mean, this doesn't happen every day. So he runs to his rabbi. The rabbi, I don't know why he gave him the following instruction. But the rabbi tells him, listen, it's probably a reincarnated Neshamah. Go bury it. And because he buried it, in order to remember what has happened there, they put a matzeva, a tombstone in the shape of a fish. Had he asked me what to do, I would have said just make a beracha and eat it for Shabbat, or give it to the poor. Because when a Neshamah is reincarnated in food, it wants an aliyah. In other words, it wants to grow. It wants to come out of it and come back in a higher level, Gilgul, which is a real human being. So if you make a blessing on the food, or you give it to the poor, you perform a mitzvah, it's much more beneficial to the Neshamah. Okay, anyway, he buried it. But that would have been the right thing to do, I believe. Now, why are people sometimes reincarnated in fish? Our tradition tells us that tzaddikim, righteous people, are reincarnated in fish. A fish is purer than an animal. That is why a fish does not need to be slaughtered. You can just take a fish out of the water, bang it on the head. Of course, you can't eat it while it's alive, and then eat it. No shahita. A fish, the element of fish is water. It's not as earthy. It's not as physical. It's on a higher level. Tzaddikim, therefore, can come back reincarnated in fish, if they come back reincarnated. Unless you're tired, I'll give you a few more stories. You want to hear some more stories? Real quickly. One of the most famous stories of Gilgulim occurred during the time of the Ari Kadosh. There was a Rosh Yeshiva who was very concerned about his daughter who was not getting married. She was being very picky. She was very intelligent. And he doesn't understand why. One day, a young man arrived from Spain. This is right after the Inquisition. A lot of the Marranos, hidden Jews, who were not so religious, were coming to Israel, to Tzfat, becoming Balei Tshuva. And so was this young man, a Baal Teshuvah, but an ignoramus. He didn't know too much. He started working in the yeshiva, doing all kinds of odd jobs. One night, I think the mother of the girl passed away, and she came in a dream to her daughter, your soulmate is Abraham, that young man. And she was surprised. But the father also had the same dream. Now the father had a big problem with this. The father is a Rosh Yeshiva, he's an important rabbi, and he was not going to allow his daughter to marry this young man who's an ignoramus. But since she had the dream and he had the dream, they decided, you know what, this is interesting. You know, dreams sometimes are real. Depends on the dream. And by the way, next week's topic is dreams. So the two went to speak to the Ari. The Ari says, as soon as he sees the rabbi coming, Mazal Tov, Mazal Tov. You don't have to tell me, I already know. The Ari knew. Mazal Tov, this is your son-in-law. Mazal Tov, this is her soulmate. Please write down in the ketuvah, he says, that everything that is yours will eventually go to him. Because, you know, she's the only daughter. And he wrote it down. After the Sheva Brachot, they got married. The son-in-law tells his father-in-law, please move out, everything belongs to me now. The man did not wait till his father-in-law passes away. He just kicks him out right away. Now he was really upset. What gall, what chutzpah. How could this be? He marries my daughter, then he takes my money away. What's going on over here? So now he really went crying to the Ari Kadosh. Ari, please tell me what's going on over here. Why is this happening to me? So Ari says, let me tell you a quick story. Once upon a time, not too long ago, there was a couple, husband and wife. And the woman was pregnant, and she always complained to the rabbi about her husband. How he beats her, how he's verbal with her, you know, abusive. And the rabbi never really believed her. Because, you know, sometimes women just complain, and maybe they exaggerate a little bit. The husband didn't come across as a bad person. But one day when she was pregnant, she came to the rabbi of the community and says, Rabbi, my husband beat me on my stomach, and the child was aborted. In other words, she had a miscarriage. Now that really upset the rabbi. You mean her husband beat her on the stomach and she had a miscarriage because of that? I mean, that's like murder. The rabbi tells him, listen, you're such a terrible person, you did such a terrible thing, you got to divorce your wife. Your wife doesn't deserve having this kind of a husband, and you got to give her everything you owe. All the money that you have goes to her. I'm penalizing you for this. The truth was, however, that she banged herself in the stomach. It was an alilah. She wanted to accuse her husband. She was willing to have this abortion, to accuse her husband, to marry somebody else, or whatever she wanted to do. But it was done through her own hands. All three went up to the Shamayim. Eventually, they all three died. The man, his wife, and the rabbi. Upstairs, they said, everything here was terrible. The husband didn't do anything wrong. The woman is to blame. The rabbi for sure did not do the right thing. Who gave him the right to give that poor, innocent man, to take away his money and give it to the wife? And they decided upstairs, we're going to make a repair, some repair work, some major overhaul work here. We're going to bring them all three down again. The rabbi who gave away the money, this time he's going to lose the money. And the woman who killed her own child will this time lose her child. On her own, was this girl became pregnant and eventually lost her baby. And the man who lost the money will get all the money. You see how this all happened? This repair work had to happen. Neshamah, they had to do the repair work. Each one got what they needed. Moshe Rabbeinu had a question on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I can't figure you out. So Hashem does something very similar to him. He took him behind the scenes where they can't see him and he could see them. And he sees a young boy walking through a grassy area. And then Moshe Rabbeinu sees a man riding a horse. And the man riding a horse drops his wallet. And the boy that comes after the man picks up the wallet. Finders keepers, is that what they say? Right? Then, after that, a poor man comes and he's very tired from his long day of collecting, and he takes a nap. When that horseman realizes that he lost the wallet, he goes back to where he thinks he lost it, and he sees that poor man. He says, "You took my money. You're the one that took my wallet, right?" He says, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any money." He gets into a whole argument with him, and he kills the poor man. Moshe Rabbeinu is watching this whole scene. He says, "I can't understand what's going on. I saw the whole thing. I saw it was the child that took the money. I saw everything." That's our problem. We don't see everything. I saw. Why is it? It's not fair, Moshe says. Why should the child get the money, and that poor man who didn't do anything wrong get killed? He says, "You see? You only see part of the movie. Movies are 2-3 hours long. I don't know. I haven't seen one in 30 years. Yeah? But imagine somebody coming to the theater in the middle of a movie. What's going on over here? And everybody takes a look at him. You should have been here in the beginning. You would understand what's going on. We come for 60, 70, 80 years and we expect to understand everything. We're only seeing a part of the movie. Hashem says, now let me tell you what happened in the previous lifetime. That little boy in the previous lifetime, his money was taken by that man who lost the money. And that man that got killed got so upset at the wrong person and killed him. So now he got killed. Hashem has to fix everything. If we don't fix it, he fixes it. It's always better if we fix it. But if it's not done, at some point it has to be fixed. There has to be justice. Hashem brings the trio, the entire group of people back, and eventually things straighten themselves out. A doctor, one winter night, is woken up. He had a very long day and he was very tired by a little girl. Cold night, snowing outside. Can you please come and help my mommy? She's very sick. Late at night, he's so tired, but she was so cute. And he felt really terrible for her mother. Maybe she's really sick. Okay. So he got up and went with her. Goes into the house. The girl showed him where the mother's home is. And she left. And he took care of the mother, gave her the whatever medication that she needed. And Baruch Hashem, he was able to save the mother. She was very sick. So the doctor says to the mother, you have a wonderful daughter. She was so good. She was so nice. She came so far in the cold to help you. Great daughter you have. He says, doctor, my daughter has been dead for several months now. What are you talking about? Says, what? She was dressed like this and like this and like this. Says, can you please go to the drawer in the bedroom? He opens up the drawer and he finds exact same clothing of that the girl wore. She had been dead. Dead. But she has come back somehow to help her mother. These things happen. Spirits come back. Just another story, another example that the Neshamah continues to exist. And sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. As far as reincarnations, there was a reincarnation in a boy in India years ago. And as soon as he was 3 and able to speak, he says, I was shot to death by some guys who came to steal my jewelry. I used to be the owner of a jewelry store. And he said names, and he told people where he used to live. And eventually they traveled to the city, and it turned out to be true. And he went and told the mother of the old jeweler, remember, I bought you a bomboniera? How do you say bomboniera in English? A nice box of chocolates. And we went and had a picnic, and that's something that only the 2 of them knew. Nobody knew about this picnic and the chocolates. It was all true. And then the greatest thing of all was he told the police, I know who my killer is. It's this and this. He quoted the name. And eventually they found the guy. The guy denied everything. But eventually they got it out of him. He broke down and confessed. What's that? If not a reincarnation. But the story that you're going to see now in a film is a story about a Druze boy, Druzi in Israel, who was killed in the collapse of a building, I believe. Eventually came back, and as a 7-year-old boy, described names of people and everything that has happened to him. And there's no way in the world he could have known these things. So I chose this as an example of something that has happened not too long ago. It's in Hebrew with subtitles in English for you to follow. Just want to end before I show you the film, that even though it would be nice for us to know what our tikkun is, what we need to do, Hashem doesn't want us to know everything completely as far as what we need to do. Why not know what we need to do? Because if you do everything you need to know, everything you need to do right away, when you're 25, you may leave. As soon as you accomplish whatever it is you had to accomplish, don't we want to stay around a little bit longer and enjoy our children and our grandchildren? So Hashem says, you know what? Don't worry. Everything in the end will be taken care of. You don't have to know right away what you have to do. Eventually, it's going to happen, as long as you cooperate. So Bezrat Hashem, if we cooperate and do whatever we need to do, Bezrat Hashem, we will be able to achieve our tikkun. So now you can follow the movie. It's about 10 minutes, but you're going to enjoy it very, very much. Yeah. About a Druze boy.
זה התחיל בערך כשהוא היה בערך בגיל 3, בן 3. היה מבטא שמות בצורה נכונה, ואז כל הזמן הוא רצה כביכול לפגוש עז.
הם לא ידעו מי זה העז, הם חשבו שהעז זה השכן שלנו, שקוראים לו אבו העז.
לא התייחסנו. אני בכל אופן, בשבילי, זה היה משהו שאני בכלל לא האמנתי, למרות שאצלנו כולם מאמינים. בשבילי התופעה הזאת היא דבר בלתי אפשרי, שבן אדם יחזור ויזכור. אז כשבאה אחותה של נבילה אלינו וסיפרנו את המקרה הזה, וידענו שהיה אירוע בחודש נובמבר והבן שלי נולד בחודש נובמבר, אז היא הבטיחה לבדוק את זה אצל המשפחה של נוהד אבורקי זכרונו לברכה שנהרג, והבן שלו במקרה קוראים לו גם עז.
ציר הדמים בפיגוע חבלני בבית הממשל הצבאי, שנה בדיוק לאחר שקרס בניין הממשל בצור וקבר תחתיו עשרות חיילים ושוטרים של משמר הגבול.
נוהד אבורוקון, זיכרונו לברכה, איש משמר הגבול בן 38 מעוספיה, נטמן בחלקה הצבאית בבית הקברות בעוספיה.
אני אדיב. אני האיש שהיה בגלגול שעבר נוהד. ואני שירתי במשמר הגבול. ונפטרתי בלבנון, בסור.
הוא חי שתי עולמות כאילו, עולם של ילד בגיל ילדות, עולם של גבר שהוא זוכר את עצמו כבחור במשמר הגבול, כאבא לילד, כבעל לאישה, והוא דואג להם.
גלגול נשמות היא תיאוריה שקיימת בכל המסורות הרוחניות בצורה פחות או יותר נסתרת. יש מסורות רוחניות שבהן התיאוריה הזו גלויה מאוד, כמו למשל בהינדואיזם ובבודהיזם, גם בדת הדרוזית. בדתות אחרות, כמו ביהדות, היא יותר נסתרת. זה שייך לסוד, למשל הקבלה ביהדות. בנצרות זה גם היה במאות הראשונות, למשל. כך שזו תיאוריה שמאוד נפוצה, ומחקרים מגלים עכשיו שיש כ-70% מכל האנושות כיום שמאמינים בתיאוריה הזו.
יום אחד אני יושב פה, נכנסו אליי פדיב, שהיה ילד קטן, יושב בגיל 3, 3.5, אבא שלו ואמא שלו. הוא איכשהו נכנס, אמר להם זה נזי. ישבנו פה כמה אנשים וזה. הוא זכר אותי ואמר זה נזי. נועד, אנחנו באותו גיל כמעט, הוא קצת מבוגר ממני והוא בן דוד שלי. והיחסים בינינו היו אדוקים.
הטיולים אני נזכר בהם, כשהלכנו לטבריה וישנו על הדשא.
על הדשא, על החוף. בילינו, כל החיים שלנו כמעט בילינו ביחד. יותר מהאחים שלי.
متذكر مرة ربقوني كسر الصحوني.
كسر الصحوني, כן. הרבה אמרנו כסר אל-קבאבי, כסר הסחוני, כי היה מרביץ עם צלחות, עם כוסות, מה שבא לו ביד היה זורק על הקירות. ואני ונועד זכרון לברכה היינו מנהלים של קבוצת כדורעף. והקבוצה עד היום קיימת על שמו, על שם נועד.
כשהייתי בן 3, אמרתי להורים שלי שאני רוצה את הזבן שלי. באנו משפרעם לעוספיא, ואני והאמא שלי והדודה שלי הלכנו ברגל לבית שלי שהיה.
אני חושבת שהלכנו ביחד, הוא רצה שהוא יראה לי איפה הבית של רונט. הוא בא הביתה, נכנס לי כאן כאילו זה הבית שלו. הוא הכיר את המקום למרות שזה היה לא שלו, אבל הוא הכיר את זה פה. אז גרו אנשים אחרים. הוא התחיל לשאול איפה הדברים האישיים שלו, איפה המדים, הוא התחיל לחפש, אשתו הייתה פה, גם השכנים פה, אנשים. הוא רצה להראות לי, הוא השתכנע בפנים שיש לו הרבה דברים פה.
באתי לי כאן, חיפשתי את המדים שלי, וחיפשתי גם את החפצים האישיים שלי, גם החפצים האישיים. רוצים שאראה לכם את זה? זה החולצת משמעות.
ברגע שהוא ראה את זה, אז הוא התרגש מאוד. אתם רואים? כאילו שהוא רוצה להוכיח את משהו. אז הוא התחיל להראות לנו, את רואה? הנה, את רואה? הנה, אני הייתי, זה מה שאני הייתי.
זה המספר האישי שאמרתי לך, כמו שאמרתי לך, 4, 4, 6, 6, 5.
שאל את רונט בפגישה הראשונה, אם היא זוכרת אותו.
זאת רונט. זאת האישה שלי שהייתה בגלגול הקודם.
אנשים חשבו שכן נוהד חוזר, לא ידעו שזה ילד קטן שהוא אומר שהוא נוהד, שהוא בא, הנה זה הבית שלי וזה הדברים האישיים שלי וזאת אשתי, זה הבן שלי, והוא החזיק ביד שלו ולא נתן לו ללכת. אז התחילו אנשים פה להגיד לו זה לא עז, זה עז על ילד אחר, להצביע על ילד אחר. הוא לא נתן לאף אחד לשכנע אותו, לי אפילו. אמא, אל תאמיני להם, זה הבן שלי, זה הילד שלי, זה שלי, זה עז שלי, ואני מכיר אותו טוב, והוא לא נתן לאף אחד לעבוד עליו או לרמות אותו.
כל יום כשהייתי חוזר מהעבודה והייתי עובד עד שעות מאוחרות, הייתי צריך לבוא לקחת אותו מהבית, כי הוא לחץ עליי, לנסוע עד לעוספיא, להיות שעה, שעתיים עם אשתו והבן שלו, ואחר כך לחזור שוב לשפרעם.
הייתי אז בן 3 וכמה חודשים.
בדרך הייתי מרגיש כמה שהוא לחוץ, רוצה רק להגיע. לפני שהוא הכיר את משפחתו, היו צריכים לסבול בלילות, הוא היה קופץ, צועק, היה מפחד. אחרי שהוא בא וישב עם אשתו ועם הבן שלו והייתי מביא אותו לכאן, הייתי מרגיש שהוא רגוע והוא גם יושן טוב בלילה. והיה גם קורא בשם של סעיד, אל תמות.
سعيد خدم بالمقام بدرجة سمر الشؤون وكان يعني قوي وشجاع ويحب كثير، كان مخلص لشغله العمل مخلص. نهاد وسعيد كل الوقت يشتغلوا مع بعض يعني وناموا مع بعض. ليلة الحادث كانوا في السريف بياخد.
هي هذا سعيد.
يا سعيد.
هي
مين حده؟
مهاد.
أول مرة بشوفه
תמיד כשהילד קטן אנחנו זוכרים היה לספר משהו. זאת אומרת, למה קרה שם? בדיוק ברגע האחרון. זה האירוע שנחרט אצלו בראש. אבל חשוב מאוד גם שהמשפחה פה תשמע, כי זה שותפות גורל בינו לבין סעיד. الولد تذكر اللحظة الأخرانية في الحادث. السؤال أنت معنيه تسمعي أو مش معنيه تسمعي؟ أنت مش مصورينك فيه.
أنا عارف.
اسمعي وليش لا ما تسمعيش؟ اسمع وشوف شو بدك عليك. بدكيش تحكي ما تحكيش.
لا أنت تحكيش في اللحظة هاي وصوروكيش فيها.
لما جينا أول ما فتنا على البنيان هذا، أنا وقفت تحت على الكنيسة عند الباب تحت وهو طلع على الطابق الثاني من الشباك، صار يحكي معي من الشباك، صار يحكي معي. صرنا نحكي يعني، ما حسينا ولا فاتت سيارة، ما شفناش احنا السيارة، فاتت سيارة وفقعت. وسمعنا صوت عالي انه وفقع كل البنيان. مرة واحدة قام يوقع لحدي من الشباك لتحت. ما حسيت ولا كل الحجارة عليه وصار ينزلوا دم. صوت اقول له ما تموتش سعيد ما تموتش. תמיד מات بعدين أنا بعد يوم نفس.
בשיחה עם אדיב אני מאוד התרשמתי מזה שמדובר בילד רגיל, ילד בן 12 שיש לו את התחביבים שלו, את הספורט, את הבית ספר, את החברים, החברות גם שמעתי, כך שמדובר בילד שמציאותי מאוד, שחי את ההווה שלו. השתכנעתי לחלוטין שלא מדובר בפנטזיות או בדמיון שלו.
Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Any questions? Otherwise, we'll continue next week. B'ezrat Hashem. The topic next week is dreams.